Okay. Thank you for participating in the Federal Interagency Military Space Career Expo featuring 15 federal agencies. This session, being hosted by the Navy Exchange Service Command, NEXCOM, will start momentarily. For this afternoon's session, your microphone has been muted upon entry to the meeting. The meeting host will prompt you to activate your microphone to speak during the Q&A session. Your video feed is fully active as your hosts are able to see you. Please use the chat area to direct questions, comments, remarks to the agency's representatives. All the afternoon sessions will be recorded. Recording links will be emailed to all attendees in the days following today's event. PDF files of today's presentations will also be emailed as the federal agencies provide them. As we near the end of this session, your hosts will encourage you to leave this meeting and join any one of the other 15 meetings that will be about to start. At that time, exit this meeting and click on the Zoom link for the next federal agency you wish to visit. If you prefer to stay in this meeting, please feel free to do so. If you have any questions or need assistance, please click on this morning's general session Zoom link you used to join us, where help is standing by. Now I would like to welcome Tyrone D. Mitchell, Sr., United States Marine Corps Master Sergeant, retired, who is a talent acquisition specialist from the NEXCOM Human Resources Office, to provide you some opening remarks for this meeting session. Take it away, Tyrone.
Hey, Val, thank you so very much. We want to welcome all of the wonderful participants to today's Military Spouse Career Expo. As Val mentioned, my name is Tyrone Mitchell. Next slide, please, Val.
Sure.
And I'm a retired United States Marine. I've spent a little over 20 years active duty in the Marines with my wife and 3 kids, and we've had the pleasure of traveling all over the world and utilizing many of the services and some of the lines of business that you'll see here that we'll cover on today. I'm a talent acquisition specialist, a technical recruiter, and from Louisiana, and love to thank you all so much for being here. So we'll jump right into the presentation. As Valerie mentioned, the chat is open. Our team is there, so you can jot any questions that you have right in the chat, and or after we finish with the presentation, we'll also have a time of Q&A for you to speak directly with our team. Next slide, please. So as a couple rules of engagement, I would ask that all of you, your phone should already be muted, and I would ask that you turn off your camera after joining the meeting to reduce audio feedback and to preserve bandwidth. The event will be recorded. Please use the chat box, as I mentioned, to submit your questions for the presenters during the event, and include @Laquette and @Laura or @Tyrone before typing your question in the chat box to ensure it's routed to the correct person. Keep in mind that we may not have enough time to ask presenters every question. Questions already addressed will be omitted for the interest of time. All questions and responses will remain in the chat for each group to see, as well as a response will be emailed to all of you at the end of all the scheduled events. Next slide. I want to welcome you once again to the Federal Interagency Military Spouse Career Expo today, October 12th, 2022. Here's the agenda and who we are. Of course, my name is Tyrone. I'm giving you the welcome. We're going to have a video from our CEO, RJ Bianchi, Rear Admiral, United States Navy, retired. We'll have a NEXCOM enterprise overview. We'll share about our continuity of employment and military leave credit program by one of our team members, Laquette Dickerson. We'll talk about types of opportunities with NEXCOM, the road to hire, and then we'll have a nice video called Mission U, and then we'll open it up for questions. Next slide. We're going to have that brief video from our CEO. Please cue up the video, Val. Thank you.
Sure, one moment, let me share it. Oops.
Wearing their own patches of service, military spouses stand at the ready, sustaining the home front so their uniformed spouse can protect our nation on the battlefront. As a retired Rear Admiral with 29 years of military service, my wife and daughters faced countless moves and constant change. And, as my wife kept our home afloat, the constant change in our address created career challenges for her. It wasn't easy, but she found her calling, and just this past year, she retired after serving 30 years as an educator, with her last 9 spent as an elementary school principal. As the CEO of the Navy Exchange Service Command, I remain committed to the continuous employment of those in our workforce who are military spouses, no matter the next duty station. And with our command's worldwide footprint among 7 unique mission areas, NEXCOM has so much to offer. We don't simply promote the hiring of military spouses by just offering jobs. We truly focus on career progression and professional development. So many of our nation's resilient military spouses are underemployed. So at NEXCOM, we try to change that by emphasizing the value of advancement and mobility among one's profession. That, along with our benefits program, makes us second to none. I encourage you to find out for yourself what a future for you looks like as part of the NEXCOM team. Hope to see you soon.
Cue your presentation back up, Tyrone.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we'll jump now into a little bit about NEXCOM's history. NEXCOM has come a long way since the days when bumboats sold their wares to sailors aboard naval vessels in the 19th century. Back then, sailors had to depend on these unreliable boats to get their personal items while aboard ship. The bumboats, small vessels that pulled alongside the U.S. Navy ships, exchange merchandise for money by pails lured over the side of the crew of the Navy ship. Goods sold by the bumboats were normally inferior and sold at high prices. By 1909, the Naval Appropriations Act established the first official resale activities, ship stores, and commissary stores. In 1944, the Secretary of the Navy permitted ship stores to be operated on all naval bases. Then in 1945, Captain Wheelock, H. Bingham, United States Navy Reserve, recommended all resale activities operate like a large chain of retail stores, and a central office be established to oversee the operation of the Navy resale system. Secretary of the Navy approved the Bingham Plan, which stated in part that the ship service stores ashore be operated with non-appropriated funds. The new central office for the Navy Ship Store Office was established in Brooklyn, New York on April 1st, 1946. This office was later renamed the Navy Exchange Service Command and is now headquartered in Virginia Beach, Virginia. NEXCOM Enterprise now encompasses 7 business lines, boasting a workforce of 16,000 located around the globe. Most of NEXCOM is a non-appropriated fund instrumentality of the DoD and the Department of the Navy. Therefore, most of NEXCOM's expenses are paid with its earnings and not tax dollars. Next slide, please. For the strategic alignment, or the chain of command, if you will, NEXCOM falls under the Chief of Naval Operations that has his navigation plan and priorities, and then NAV, the Naval Supply Systems Command, and then, of course, NEXCOM. In NEXCOM, we have a dual mission, and that's to provide quality goods and services at a savings and support Navy quality of life programs. Next slide, please. Here at NEXCOM Enterprise, we have 7 lines of business. All right, the first is the Navy Exchange, which has 2.4 billion annual sales. There's 91 complexes in 14 countries and 22 states, with an average savings per customer of 420 million. Next, there is the Navy Gateway Inn and Suites, which has a 290 million annual revenue, 402 buildings worldwide with 16,000 rooms. And its mission, of course, is official TY travel. And let me just take a sidebar for a moment. While active duty in the Marines, as well as now that I'm retired, my family and I, we've had the privilege, just like I'm sure many of you have, to access many of these various services. During times when I was TY, of course, I utilized the Navy Exchange, had the privilege of staying at the Navy Gateway and Suites, and then of course the Naval Lodge, which is utilized for PCS and official travel. Next, there's the ship store with a 69 million annual sales, 11 million of that. This is a wonderful caveat. 11 million of the 69 million goes to moral welfare and recreation. And these ship stores are on 133 naval ships. Then there's the Uniform Program Management Office, which has 123 million annual uniform sales. It also has a 24/7 call center web store. This is very important for our Navy and our sailors, as all of their uniforms are gotten from the Uniform Program Management Office. And then there's the Telecommunications Program Office, which is phone calling on the ships, the wireless products and services, as well as Wi-Fi at the lodging, housing, as well as MWR and medical facilities. I know for me, during the times when I was deployed on ship or overseas, it was really great when I had the opportunity to utilize the phone systems to be able to reach out to my wife and my loved ones to let them know that I was okay, as well as to check on them to know that they were okay. And then finally, there's the Navy Clothing and Textile Research Facility, Uniform Research and Development Facility, testing and certifications. And this is really interesting because not only for the Navy Clothing and Textile Research Facility, they do all the research, they test, they send the uniforms out to make sure that it fits properly, that the material is great, and that it's something that our sailors and Marines, that they can utilize, and that it's very functional. That's very important for them to have the right uniform and the right fit. And so that's a brief overview of our 7 lines of business. Next, we'll have our continuity of employment program and our military leave, which Lockheed Dickerson, our executive recruitment and talent acquisition and marketing specialist, will share that with you. Lockheed, can you take it away?
Hello. I know that everyone was expecting Amanda Beasley to kind of talk about this piece, but Amanda has been blessed with a new baby this as of yesterday. So she is not going to be be able to join us today, as she is enjoying her new family member. So just a little bit about myself. I am Lockheed Dickerson. I am a talent acquisition specialist who is responsible for executive recruitment and employment branding here at NEXCOM. I do a full range of responsibilities that includes recruitment, placement of highly qualified individuals to senior level management roles globally, around the world, as well as the management solution of hiring initiatives by delivering recruitment marketing campaigns across various media platforms. So what I want to share with you today is 2 programs that I am very endeared to, and that is the Continuity of Employment Program, as well as the Military Leave Program. The Continuity of Employment, which is what we often refer to as CEP, if you can go to that slide. That program is for military spouses. Once they are with us and they are working at the Navy Exchange, they have the opportunity to go and take their careers from one place of duty to another place of duty, meaning that if you are hired, such as myself, I was hired in Yokosuka, Japan, when my husband was stationed there. And then when he got new orders to Virginia Beach, I was able to fill out paperwork and actually go get our house set up in Virginia Beach, walk into the office of the Navy Exchange there and say, hey, I'm a military spouse that worked in Yokosuka, Japan for the Navy Exchange, and I now want to work at the Navy Exchange here at this local office or anywhere in this facility or this vicinity. And that put me on a program that helped me get the position that I am in today. That program, all you have to do is be working with the Navy Exchange for 9 months. And what that allows you to do is to continue your service and your benefits up to 12 months as you transition from your new, from your old to your new duty station. What this means is that the associate will be allowed to have the option of continuing to make direct contribution to their benefit plans, with the exception of the 401k plan. This is eligible for anyone who's in a part-time, a full-time, or flexible position. And like I said, you only have to be working with us for a minimum of 3 months or 90 days in order to transfer. We also ask that you have at least a successful annual performance rating of fully successful or higher for those performance appraisals. It is an awesome program. It allows you to continue your career and grow your career as your husband transfer around the world. And as he retires, it also gives you an opportunity to have a career that you can not only grow, but that you can retire from. So just to back it up a while, because I realized that I jumped ahead to that slide, the military leave credit. We have many military service members who come to us after they retire because they want to continue with the notion of the mission and giving service. So transition military members are eligible for military leave credit for the entire time they've spent in the uniformed armed forces, or for any wartime campaigns or expeditions, as long as they were honorably discharged. We only request that you provide us with your DD-214. And if you are a retiree, we ask for your FS-813. We generally send that off and verify your time in service and any campaign time you have. And that way we can get you your appropriate credit for your leave. It's 2 of the bonus things that we have to support not only the military service spouses, but also the retirees themselves when you work for NEXCOM. So we can move forward to the testimonial, and I'll turn this back over to Tyrone.
Thank you, Laquette. Belle, if you don't mind, could you bring up the types of career opportunities that are available?
When our sailors are at sea, someone keeps them in touch. Even at the beginning of a journey, there's someone at their side. That's us, the men and women of NEXCOM. In far-off places, we're here to keep home close. From Bethesda to Bahrain, San Diego to Sigonella, Rota to Romania. We're here to take care of them and theirs. We're here to show our gratitude to those who paved the way. Out front and behind the scenes, we take care of the details so they can stand up for us. From that early first morning of boot camp to those easy mornings on leave, we're here wherever they are, and we'll be here to see them home. We know how to leverage what we have to rise to meet our shared mission. Our strength comes from coming together. We are NEXCOM, a proud part of the Navy family. We take care of our own, including you, because the mission is you.
Awesome. Man, I love that video. Every time I see it, I get pumped. Listen,
Serving the Washington State Bars.
Belle, could you bring up the NEXCOM career opportunity slide, please? Thank you.
I don't think I have that one, Tyrone. I only have the one I just showed,
Okay,
and then the one we did in the beginning from the CEO.
right. No, it's not a video. It's just a slide.
Oh,
It
okay.
says, yeah, the one that says types of career opportunities. The slide right after that should be number 13.
Oh, okay, great. Hang on just one second. I'll get that.
All right, no problem. Thank you. Yep, the next one. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Thank you, Val.
Great, you're welcome.
All right, so NEXCOM, the way that it's set up, there's a lot of flexibilities as far as opportunity is concerned. And here is just a couple, 3 different areas where folks can have an opportunity to be a part of. We have our field retail global, which is merchandising and marketing, store operations, loss prevention, corporate uniform program, office, telecommunications, supply chain, architect and engineers. We have hospitality, which is our lodge and suites, managers, supervisors, front desk clerk, housekeeping. And then of course here in the Tidewater, where our headquarters is located, we have our human resources, information technology, contracts, office of internal audit, finance, accounting, and EEO. And so from looking at that, you see that there's a ton of opportunities and a lot of flexibility that NEXCOM has. And so I love it because you can go from one industry to the next without leaving the country. And wherever there's a naval installation, NEXCOM is there. And so we're all over the planet. And so I saw that Laura just dropped in our site that has all of our updated jobs that are there. And then next and finally, Laquette, would you mind talking about the process, the road to hire, if you don't mind?
Sure, not at all. So let me just talk a little bit about what our hiring process looks like. So NEXCOM posts positions every single week. So every week, if you go to our website that Laura has put in our chat, you will see that we have a number of positions that are posted. These positions, as I mentioned, are posted every week. And this is how it pretty much works. So once we post our positions, they're typically posted for 2 weeks. The job is announced, they're posted for 2 weeks, and then once they're closed, we as the talent acquisition teams will review all the applicants that are received, and then those are forwarded for consideration to the hiring managers. Our hiring managers will have 1 week to review all the applicants that are received that have met the qualifications. They only see candidates that have met the qualifications. You ask, what are the qualifications? Those qualifications are the MQRs, or the minimum required qualifications. Those are posted along with the job announcement. So within the job announcement, you will see the position description, and then right underneath it, you will see the minimum requirements for the position. Anyone who meets those minimum requirements are those that are being sent to the hiring managers. Once the hiring managers receive those candidates, they will have 1 week to review them and schedule interviews. Once the interviews are scheduled and a selection is made, the criminal background checks are processed, and then an offer is extended. The time for processing from the time that the job is posted until a job may be extended can take up to 4 weeks. So we ask that you please be patient. We are, of course, a government agency, as Tyrone mentioned in the beginning. So the processes are generally a little longer. So once you receive your job offer, we start or have an orientation, depending on your location, every week or every other week. Once you come to orientation, you'll receive the CAT card. And once you get that CAT card, it allows you into all of our systems, and we welcome you into the NEXCOM family. And that is the process for hiring. So if you have any other questions about where to find the positions or the type of positions that are currently hot jobs for us, Tyrone did mention some of them earlier. And then we have some that if you want to know more information about, you can put them in a chat and we'll be glad to address those. Tyrone, back to you.
Thank you, Laquette. And so that the final slide is our questions. Can you put the final? Yep, perfect. And so guys, you can see right there, that's where you can find all of our job postings about us. Our facts can be found there. And at this time, it's a great segue. We want to open it up for any questions that you all may have for the next, the rest of the time that we're here together. So anyone have any questions that we can answer, just drop them in the chat and we'll go right ahead and do our best to get those answered. I want to take these last few moments to answer your direct questions that you have about types of jobs, locations, culture. You know, NEXCOM, it's a great place. I like it because it's not just it's a place that talks and walks the walk. Does NEXCOM offer paid relocation? Absolutely. We have many of our associates, they actually find us all over the planet, as we mentioned, and there is paid relocation that is associated with the position if you're selected as the best qualified for that position. Laquette, is there anything you want to add to that?
Sure. So one of the things that we look at when we consider whether or not a position offers paid relocation is how far you are from the position location that you're being selected for. So anything 50 miles or greater will have the opportunity to be offered some form of paid relocation. Our paid relocation looks the same as it does for military personnel. So if you're currently related or affiliated with the military and have gone through a PCS move, you'll be very familiar with our relocation process. It's pretty much the same. You get to sit on the sofa and point to the fork, and the team comes in and puts it in a box for you, ships it to your new location. It goes into storage up to 60 days. And then once you get your new resident, you let the moving company know, and they come out and unpack and take away your boxes. So it's pretty much what you're familiar with. Along with paid relocation, we also look at how far you are from that new job that we mentioned, that new job location, and you may be eligible for some additional benefits such as mileage if you have a car, overnight stay, depending on how far you are from the position location and where we're relocating you from. So there's some other things that go with it. We are in line with the JTR, the Joint Travel Regulations.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Laquette. I see a question there from Rena. She asks, how can I set myself apart if my volunteer work gives me the experience to meet the job duties? Rena, a couple of things, and that's exactly what we're looking for. As Laquette mentioned earlier, the job description will have what the job entails. And then if you meet those minimum requirements and you have the experience, then you'll be looked at as anyone else that applies for that position. Although some positions require some type of education requirements, but there are some that are looking specifically for what type of experience you have. Does that answer your question, Rena?
And if I can add to that, also, Rena, always speak to the job that you want. So whether you're being paid for the work you do or whether or not it's volunteer work, when you look at a job description that is posted on our site, we like to say that we give you the answers to the test. So if you're looking at, let's say, a merchandiser position and it says, hey, we want you to do A, B, and C, if you know you have experience volunteering, doing some forms of that, we want you to speak it so that we can understand it in that simple language. So anytime you see a position, you're always looking to retailer your resume to the position to which you're applying for, regardless of the experience, whether it's paid or volunteer. So you will definitely have many different resumes because you're always changing your resume to speak to the position that you're applying for.
Awesome. Yep. And if I could add to that, it's very important, Rena, that you want to just make sure, as like Ed said, you want to tailor that resume to what they're actually looking for the description. And when you do that, if you have that experience in your background, just be sure to include it in your resume, regardless of how small or how large how much experience you have. Just make sure that you include it all and speak to it, because that's what the hiring managers will look for. I see another question. How many positions can I apply to at one time? You can apply to as many positions as you're interested in. Obviously you want to make sure that you meet the minimum qualifications that are required, but there's no limit to the number of positions that you could apply for. I would just caution, just make sure that you meet those requirements, but there's no limit. Marina is asking, I was looking at the executive assistant position. I have a few years that are gapped due to our location and job opportunities. Yeah, just as Laquette mentioned, you could even speak to that if you like, but there's definitely, if you have that background, be it, as Laquette mentioned, paid or volunteer, you just want to speak to it and make sure you outline it in your resume, and we'll go from there.
And Rena, I'm also going to add that as a military spouse or dependent or active duty, that's one of the things that NEXCOM recognizes, that oftentimes because you are changing duty stations and you're constantly moving, that you're going to have gaps in your career. And we're one of the organizations that understands what that looks like and understand what that means, because you're called to duty or you're called to service and you have to move at a moment's notice. Sometimes you're given enough notice, but still you have to start and stop jobs because you're moving a whole family across the country or to different countries at times. So you just indicate, you move due to military relocation. We get it, we understand, and is nothing held against you.
Awesome. Oh, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. Do you have any other questions, anything that we can answer before we wrap up this particular session? Or anyone else that's out there?
I think there's one more coming from Rena.
Okay. This is good stuff. How far back should the experience be? Well, I don't think that there's an actual, maybe the last 10 years, Laquette, would you agree? The last 10 years of experience that's tailored directly to that specific position, or do you think she should go further?
I would say that it really depends on the position that you're applying for. If you've had multiple different types of experience in your work history and you find that your relevant experience is more than 10 years ago, then you may want to look at whether it's to your advantage to do a functional or a chronological resume type. The functional resume will detail all your experience that you have as it speaks to that position without looking at the dates that you actually worked there last. And the chronological pretty much puts all your work history in a particular order. So I think it's best that you decide which one is more advantageous to you so that you can capture your experience.
No problem. Thank you. Do we offer remote or hybrid work positions? Yes. So our positions are categorized as remote or hybrid, local to the area, but we do have some remote positions that are on a case-by-case basis.
So let me just provide two answers in regards to remote, hybrid remote, and local remote. Some of our positions, we do require our associates to be located closer to the office because there may be a reason for you to come into that office for whatever reason. We do offer some positions that are going to be remote, but those are determined based on the type of position and what the need of the position is. Also with that, we do offer flexibility to our work schedules. So after you've been in your position for a year, some positions may offer what we call CWS, which is a compressed work schedule, where instead of working the standard 5 days a week or 10 days within the 2-week work period, you may work 9 days, 9 hours, and then your 10th day you're off, or you may work 4 days for 10 hours and your 5th day is off. So those are other work options that we have that are really great. Myself, I do a compressed work schedule where I work the 9 days and I'm off the 10th day. It gives me an opportunity to take advantage of any appointments that I have for my family, as well as just time to decompress and have a longer scheduled weekend. So those are one of the perks that NEXCOM offers when we think about our work schedules and our work week and the type of work that we do offer. Rena also has a question about, does NEXCOM prefer functional over chronological resumes? We don't have a preference over either. It is according to you and what works better for you to detail your experience. Whichever one shows you in the best light is what we will accept.
Awesome. I think we have time for one more question before we wrap up. You're welcome, Rena. Great question. How can I apply today? So if you're interested in applying, and I definitely recommend you go to our site. You can go over to www.mynavyexchange.com/next/work-for-us. And you'll find all of our current positions that are there and apply. We'd love to have you as a part of our NEXCOM team. I'll try to drop that in the chat for everyone. There it is. All right, awesome. What we want to thank each and every one of you for taking time to stop by our session today. Hopefully you heard some information that was very informative for you. We look forward to seeing your name and receiving your resume and learning all about you as you learn about us. There's a ton of others. Hold on before I go. Okay, there's a ton of other sessions, and I definitely recommend that you stop by some of the other booths that are out there. And we look forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you so very much. And this concludes the end of the first section. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job, everyone. I'll take into account in the next one time for rendering for those videos. Apparently there's a lapse from the time I click on it to share.
No problem. No problem at all. Thank you very much, Val. I think everything was smooth. And just as a point of clarification, so the video of our CEO would go right there for number 5, and the NEXCOM video, Mission U, will be the one right before the questions at the end.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
Laquette, I don't know if you noticed, I sent you an updated deck. I took out the information with regards to Amanda. And I just had you there so that we could just to make it a little bit more fluid. And Val has that updated deck as well. All right, so I think we're good. We have what? We have a minute?
I think so.
And then we do it all over again.
Exactly.
All right.
I was just double checking those.
We still have the recording on. We may want to stop the recording.
They suggested that I leave the recording on every time.
Okay, okay, perfect.
Just for continuity.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay.
No, we're good. We're good.
Room. So do we want to wait till, oh, they just left again, but we'll want to wait till just a moment before 2 to admit, I presume.
Well,
Sure.
I think we, doesn't it start right at 1:45 or?
I think you're right. I was just opening this up again to verify.
Yeah,
I had it on one screen. I've got too many screens open. I can't find what I'm looking for.
No, you're fine. So I think I had 1:45 and then 2:30. Yeah, fine.
I think you're right. And then 2:40, 3:15, is that right?
3:15. I think you're right.
Okay, just double checking there. All right, so I'm going to close this back out. And I'm going to share the screen with the beginning slide again. And that way we'll be ready.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and start admitting.
Perfect. And Tyrone, can you see the beginning slide?
Yes, yes, I can.
Perfect, thank you. And if, as we go through this next one, if you'll just let me know when the video's up on screen,
I sure will.
that'll help me out.
Okay. Well, you did a great job. Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you.
So one down, we have what, 2 more?
Correct.
All right.
I'm ready when you are, Tyrone.
I'm ready. I'm ready when you are.
Okay. Thank you for participating in the Federal Interagency Military Spouses Career Expo featuring 15 federal agencies. This session, being hosted by the Navy Exchange Service Command, NEXCOM, will start momentarily. For this afternoon's session, your microphone has been muted upon entry to the meeting. The meeting host will prompt you to activate your microphone to speak during the Q&A session. Your video feed is fully active as your hosts are able to see you. Please use the chat area to direct questions, comments, or remarks to the agency's representatives. All the afternoon sessions will be recorded. Recording links will be emailed to all attendees in the days following today's event. PDF files of today's presentations will also be emailed as the federal agencies provide them. As we near the end of this session, your host will encourage you to leave this meeting and join any of one of the other 15 meetings that will be about to start. At that time, exit this meeting and click on the Zoom link for the next federal agency you wish to visit. If you prefer to stay in this meeting, please feel free to do so. If you have any questions or need assistance, click on this morning's general session Zoom link you used to join us where help is standing by. Now I would like to welcome Tyrone D. Mitchell, Sr., United States Marine Corps Master Sergeant, retired, who is a talent acquisition specialist from the NEXCOM Human Resources Office, to provide you some opening remarks for this meeting.
Hey, Val, thank you so very much for that warm introduction. Folks, I just want to welcome you all to the NEXCOM Federal Interagency Military Spouse Career Expo here today on October 12th. My name is Tyrone Mitchell. I'm a talent acquisition specialist. As Val just mentioned, a technical recruiter with the Navy Exchange Service Command, where you are the mission. We love, and I'm passionate about helping connect the right candidate with the right opportunity, making it a mutually beneficial for everyone. So NEXCOM, you're going to love it here. I want to go over just some rules of engagement for our time together today. I want to ask if you could just mute your microphone and turn off your camera after joining the meeting to reduce audio feedback and to preserve bandwidth. This event will be recorded. Please use the chat box to submit your questions for the presenters during the event. Include @Laquette and @Laura or @Tyrone before typing your question in the chat box to ensure it's routed to the correct person. Keep in mind that we may not have enough time to ask the presenters every question. Questions already addressed will be omitted for the interest of time. All questions and responses will remain in the chat for each group to see as well. As a response, will be emailed to all of you at the end of all the scheduled events. Next, just as a welcome and the agenda for today, and who are we? Of course, my name is Tyrone. Next, we're going to show a video from our CEO, RJ Bianchi, Rear Admiral, United States Navy, retired. Then we'll do a NEXCOM enterprise overview. We'll talk about the continuity of employment and military leave credit. We have types of opportunities with NEXCOM, the road to hire, and then we'll show a brief video about Mission U. And now that you know who we are, and while we're here, we're going to jump right into the brief video from our CEO, Rear Admiral Bianchi. You can go ahead and cue the video, and it's up, Val. Thank you.
Wearing their own patches of service, military spouses stand at the ready, sustaining the home front so their uniformed spouse can protect our nation on the battlefront. As a retired Rear Admiral with 29 years of military service, my wife and daughters faced countless moves and constant change. And, as my wife kept our home afloat, the constant change in our address created career challenges for her. It wasn't easy, but she found her calling. And just this past year, she retired after serving 30 years as an educator, with her last 9 spent as an elementary school principal. As the CEO of the Navy Exchange Service Command, I remain committed to the continuous employment of those in our workforce who are military spouses, no matter the next duty station. And with our command's worldwide footprint, Among 7 unique mission areas, NEXCOM has so much to offer. We don't simply promote the hiring of military spouses by just offering jobs. We truly focus on career progression and professional development. So many of our nation's resilient military spouses are underemployed. So at NEXCOM, we try to change that by emphasizing the value of advancement and mobility among one's profession. That, along with our benefits program, makes us second to none. I encourage you to find out for yourself what a future for you looks like as part of the NEXCOM team. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you so very much. So next, we're going to talk a little bit about NEXCOM history to kind of give you an overview of where we come from and how we got here. NEXCOM has come a long way since the days when bumboats sold their wares to sailors aboard naval vessels in the 19th century. Back then, sailors had to depend on these unreliable boats to get their personal items while aboard ship. The bumboats, small vessels that pulled alongside U.S. Navy ships, exchanged merchandise for money by pails lowered over the side by the crew of the Navy ship. Goods sold by the bumboats were normally inferior and sold at high prices. By 1909, the Naval Appropriations Act established the first official resale activities, ship stores, and commissary stores. In 1944, the Secretary of the Navy permitted ship stores to be operated on all Navy bases. Then in 1945, Captain Wheelock H. Bigham, United States Navy Reserve, recommended all resale activities operate like a large chain of retail stores and a central office be established to oversee the operation of the Navy resale system. The Secretary of the Navy approved the Bigham Plan, which stated in part that the ship service stores ashore be operated with a non-appropriated funds. The new central office for the Navy Ship Store Office was established in Brooklyn, New York on April 1st, 1946. This office was later renamed the Navy Exchange Service Command and is now headquartered in Virginia Beach, Virginia. NEXCOM Enterprise now encompasses 7 business lines, boasting a workforce of 16,000 located around the globe. Most of NEXCOM is a non-appropriated fund instrumentality of the DoD and the Department of the Navy. Therefore, most of NEXCOM's expenses are paid with its earnings and not tax dollars. What I'd like to do is just to share the next slide, which deals with strategic alignment. As far as the chain of command, there's the Chief of Naval Operations, and then of course there's the Naval Supply Systems Command. Then there's NEXCOM. In NEXCOM, we have a dual mission, and that is to provide quality goods and services at a savings and support Navy quality of life programs. In addition to that, the NEXCOM Enterprise has 7 lines of business, and I want to delineate those for us. The first is the Navy Exchange, which most folks have heard of. The Navy Exchange has 2.4 billion annual sales with 91 complexes in 14 countries, 22 states, for a total of 420 million savings for the customer, our sailors and Marines. Next, there's the Navy Gateway, and it has 290 million annual revenue with 402 buildings worldwide with 16,000 rooms, with a mission of official TDY travel. TDY, of course, is temporary duty travel when our sailors and naval exchange folks, sailors and Marines, when they travel and they go to any type of school, they're going there on a temporary basis and then they return back. That's TDY. And the Navy Gateway Inn and Suites is designed for that. But in addition to the Navy Gateway Inn and Suites, there's also the Navy Lodge, which boasts a 76 million annual revenue with 38 lodges worldwide with 3,000 rooms with a mission for PCS travel. So whenever you and your loved ones have transitioned from one base to another, from one duty station to another, and say base housing wasn't readily available, the Navy Lodge is there for our sailors and Marines as a place where they can reside until their housing becomes available. And then there's the ship store. On each and every one of our 133 naval ships, there's an annual sales of 69 million, with 11 million of that 69 million going to more morale, welfare, and recreation, which is awesome. And then there's the Uniform Program Management Office, which has 123 million annual uniform sales, and it's open 24/7. It's called, and then the web store where our sailors and Marines, they can go right there and order their uniforms directly from the UPMO office. And then there's the Telecommunications Program Office that has phone calling on the ships, which is a very wonderful thing when you're away from loved ones, just to be able to hear their voice. And there's the wireless products and services. There's also the Wi-Fi at the lodging. If you've ever stayed at any of the Navy Lodge or the Navy Gateway Inn and Suites, and you was able to connect to the Wi-Fi, that's a part of the Telecommunications Program Office. In the housing, all of the base housing has free Wi-Fi. And then there's the MWR and medical facilities where there's free Wi-Fi there as well. And then finally, the Navy Clothing and Textile Research Facility, Uniform Research and Development Facility, and then a testing and certification, which means that we not only test it, but we send it out to our sailors and Marines to make sure that it's the best quality and that it's functional for them, because we need them to be comfortable and safe and for them to be able to do their job. And so next, we have our continuity of employment program and our military leave. And I'll turn it over to Laquette Dickerson, who is she handles our executive recruitment, talent acquisition, and she's a marketing specialist. So Laquette, please take it away.
Hi, thank you, Tyrone. I am Laquette Dickerson. I am a talent acquisition specialist here at NEXCOM, and my role is the executive recruitment and employment branding. This includes cycle recruitment placement of highly qualified candidates for NEXCOM senior level management roles globally, and the management of creative solutions to support hiring initiatives by delivering executive recruitment and marketing campaigns across all media platforms. I've been with the Navy Exchange Service Command System since 2010, when I myself originally was hired while my husband and I were stationed in Yokosuka, Japan. So I am definitely a product of continuity of employment. So that program is very dear to my heart. The NEXCOM Continuity of Employment program is basically when you work for NEXCOM, the Navy Exchange Service Command, in a position in one location and your spouse receives orders. You literally take those orders into the Human Resource Office and you sign your name and say, hey, my spouse has gotten orders. It's according to the paperwork that I'm submitting here. And our new duty station, like in my case, is going to be Virginia Beach. And then they say, okay, when is your last day of work? I tell them my last day of work and the day that we're scheduled to leave. We arrived here in Virginia Beach, and you have 1 full year to walk into the new HR office or human resource office at the Virginia Beach location and say, here is a copy of my paperwork, which they would have already received in advance, and say, I'm now ready for employment. I've now got my household goods. I've now got my house set up. I've got my family situated, and I'm now ready to work. So what NEXCOM does is now look for a position that's very similar to, if not the same position that I had at my last duty station, which was Yokosuka, Japan. And I am able to continue my career. How has this benefited me is allowed me to continue to grow my career. I've since then been promoted up several times in several different positions. And we have now been at this location for the last 7 or 8 years, because my husband has since then retired. So what I will say about the continuity program is that It is something that gives military spouses and their dependents an opportunity to continue their career, but also to have a career that's growing alongside of your spouses, such as I did. It is a worldwide, program that promotes the continuation of employment when you're transferring in PCS. And this is the last thing you have to worry about, and it's good, whether you're in an exempt or non-exempt position, is to have to worry about finding a job when you get to your new area. Many times, like again, and such as myself, I'd never lived in Virginia before, so I didn't know what the employment market was here. And it gave me an opportunity to know that when I got there, I had a job waiting for me in some kind of capacity. All that was required of me to do was to have worked with the Navy Exchange for 3 months or 90 days. And I could have been in a full-time, a part-time, or a flexible position, and to have a successful rating on my performance evaluation, a fully successful or higher on at least the last 2. Sometimes if you haven't been with us long enough to have 2 annual performance appraisals, as long as you meet that 90-day requirement, you're going to be enrolled into the continuity program. And it's just that simple. It allows you to also continue your benefits by making direct plan contributions. So I was able to continue my plan contributions with the exception of my 401k. Once I got to my new location, I was able to enroll in the 401k again at that time. So moving forward to the military leave credit. The military leave credit is another program that is exceptional for vets that we have. So any transition military personnel can be eligible for the military leave credit for the entire time spent in the uniformed armed forces for any wartime campaign and expedition, as long as they were honorably discharged. Only thing you have to do at your time of retirement and employment with us is to come into our HR office and bring your DD 214 or your FS 813 if you're a retiree. And then we send that off to get the exact amount of time that you have and that you'll be eligible for. And we apply that time against your current employment with here at NEXCOM. So Tyrone, I'll turn that back over to you.
Thanks, Laquette. Next, I want to talk just briefly about some of the types of career opportunities that are available here at NEXCOM. As you can see, there's 3 sections. There's the field retail global, there's hospitality, and then there's Tidewater, which is where our headquarters is located. And so under the tag for the field retail global positions, we have merchandising and marketing, store operations, loss prevention, corporate, uniform program office, telecommunications, supply chain, architect, engineer, lodge and suites, manager, supervisors, front desk, clerk, housekeeping. Then here at our headquarters in Virginia Beach, there's human resources, information technology, contracts, Office of Internal Audit, finance, accounting, and legal. The thing I love about NEXCOM is that you can shift via through multiple industries without leaving the company. It gives a great deal of flexibility because wherever there's a naval installation, NEXCOM is there. There's opportunity there for you to either be transferred if the position is available and you qualify for it. And so those are the positions that are there. And Laquette, I'd like to turn it over to you finally for the road to hire and to talk about the process. What is the process for someone that's coming on board to be with us and to actually be a part of the team? How do they go about it? I'll turn it over to you.
Sure, Tyrone. So that process is a fairly simple one. The Navy Exchange posts new positions every week. So every Friday, you will see a host of new positions being released. Those jobs are typically posted for 1 to 2 weeks, depending on how urgent we need to have them filled. Some positions, of course, if they're urgent, then they will only be posted for 1 week. In any event, all postings will indicate what the posting closing date is. Once the candidates have been entered into our system via your application, the talent acquisition team will have a week to review all candidates who meet the qualifications. Those candidates who meet those qualifications will be forwarded to the hiring manager for review. The talent acquisition team has 1 week to review those. And what we're looking for when we say candidates that have met the minimum qualifications is when you see our positions posted, you will see the position description posted in its entirety. And right underneath that, you will see the minimum qualifications or the MQRs. Those minimum qualifications detail exactly what qualification the candidate has to have in order to be forwarded to the hiring manager for review and consideration. Once they are sent to the hiring manager for review and consideration, the hiring manager has 1 week to review them and schedule interviews and make a selection. Once the selection have been identified, the background check will be processed and offers will be extended. Once the offer is extended, you receive your scheduled start date. Your scheduled start date can be either within a week, or it can be 2 weeks from the time that your offer is extended. We do start new orientation classes every week, or in some places every other week. The whole process can take anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks. Please keep in mind we are a government agency, so the background check and the offer process may take a little longer. So we always ask our applicants to err on the side of the process may take a month, which is the 4 weeks. Once you receive your CAT card at orientation or within the week of orientation, we tell you immediately, welcome to the family, and your opportunities for growth will begin. So at that time, I'll turn it back to you, Tyrone.
Thank you, Laquette. Val, could you bring up the Mission U video? Thank you. It's there.
Thank you, Tyrone.
When our sailors are at sea, someone keeps them in touch. Even at the beginning of a journey, there's someone at their side. That's us, the men and women of NEXCOM. In far-off places, we're here to keep home close. From Bethesda to Bahrain, San Diego to Sigonella, Rota to Romania. We're here to take care of them and theirs. We're here to show our gratitude to those who paved the way. Out front and behind the scenes, we take care of the details so they can stand up for us. From that early first morning of boot camp to those easy mornings on leave, we're here wherever they are, and we'll be here to see them home. We know how to leverage what we have to rise to meet our shared mission. Our strength comes from coming together. We are NEXCOM, a proud part of the Navy family. We take care of our own, including you, because the mission is you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for bringing that up, Val. At this time, we want to shift gears to answer any specific questions. Any questions that you have. You can see right there on your screen, we have our link in there, which is mynavyexchange.com/NEX/work-for-us. And there you'll find all of our current job postings. You'll find information about us and all of our frequently asked questions. At this time, we want to open it up right now and just kind of spend some time with you answering any questions that you may have for us. I noticed that once we started, there was a question, and I saw that Laura answered it, but the question I want to, for at SPR 397, your question was regarding, it says, I'm the spouse of an active duty member who is stationed overseas. However, I'm a Spanish citizen. We're stationed in Italy. with the green card, would I be able to apply for these jobs with a full U.S. citizenship? And I saw that Laura responded. So some of our roles do require you to have U.S. citizenship, and it would say that right there on the job announcement. But then there's quite a few that you don't have to be a U.S. citizen. I definitely recommend, as Laura mentioned, that you can go to the site, the NEXCOM jobs, and take a look at those positions, those current ones that are available, and you can apply right there. However, if it does say you need to be a U.S. citizen, then that's one of the requirements to be able to do that specific role. I hope that answers your question, or if there's an additional question, please feel free to go ahead and answer it. We're all ears. Our team is here ready to answer whatever questions that you all have that are on here.
I'm going to jump in a bit because this person is in an overseas location, which we refer to sometimes as OCONUS. You can look at that location to see which positions that they have. As Tyrone stated, for that position in Italy, some positions you can be a green card holder for some of the positions that they have, depending on what the country requirements are. And then some positions will require you to be a U.S. citizen. But as you're looking at the location itself to which the position is located, it will tell you what the requirements are for the different jobs. And it is going to vary by position.
Awesome. Are there any other questions that we can answer about NEXCOM, about the culture, about your resume? Further questions about the, I see there's a question, does NEXCOM offer remote or hybrid work positions? That's a great question. Some of our positions are remote or hybrid to the local area. And then we have some that are specific to the actual location. Remote or hybrid, we will pay, I'm sorry, I was going into another one, which is relocation, but yeah, remote, we do have some positions, and it's based upon on a case-by-case basis for all of those specific roles. Information regarding citizenship requirements can be found at nexweb.org. I see. So if you go to mynavyexchange.com/next/work for us, it'll have, oh, there it is right there. If you go there, it'll have the job description along with all of the current positions that are available right there. And in the job description, it'll say whether what under the minimum requirements for that position that are required, it'll tell you whether U.S. citizenship is required.
So SPR 397, if you look at the individual job, so find the job that you're interested in that particular location in Italy, and then it will say whether or not you're required to have a U.S. citizen for that position in that location. And as I stated before, it varies when you're looking at overseas location position. It varies due to the agreement that we have with the local government on how many people that we can hire that are from other countries.
Awesome. You're welcome.
One of the questions that came up earlier was about the type of resume that you should have and how to highlight your experience, especially when you're a military spouse changing locations. Tyrone, I'll ask you to expand on that, just as some general information that they may want to know as a military spouse or as a veteran when you're transitioning from services and understanding that you are relocating a lot of times and you may have gaps on your resume. and
Sure.
how you can also zero in on the experience that you have that's applicable to the positions that are posted.
Awesome. Thank you, Laquette. Yeah, so I understand that, as I mentioned earlier, I spent a little over 20 years in Marines. And so my wife and I and my family, we transitioned from time to time. My wife, she was, trying to find a job at every location. And as Laquette mentioned, a lot of times there's gaps. So you can speak to that in your resume. You can choose, there's 4 types of resumes. There's the functional, the chronological, or a combination, or targeted. So if you have gaps, you can speak to it. You can put in there, that my husband received orders, or my wife received orders, and we transitioned from one place to the other. I think that if you just speak to whatever the gap is, or if there's a question that could be perceived about your background, just speak to it in there. And you can determine, we at NEXCOM, we're not privy to a functional or chronological. You have to be able to decide which one is going to work best for you to present you in the best light to the hiring manager. Of course, you want to make sure that you tailor your resume to the job description, outlining and speaking to those requirements and the what we call the MQOs, the minimum qualifications that are required, because that's what the hiring managers are going to be looking for. So that's either paid or volunteer experience. All of that is experience. And so you just want to be able to speak to it. All right. That was a great question that we received too about that. Another question that we had was early at an earlier session like that, and if you could just talk a little bit more about it, was does NEXCOM pay relocation?
Sure. So NEXCOM does offer paid relocation as long as the position that you are applying for and expected to report to is greater than 50 miles from the position and your actual home of record, or the home that you're currently relocating or expecting to relocate from. And that is going to be determined by where you are and what the expectations of the position is. If it is a hybrid remote, then you may not be eligible for relocation as the position is close enough to that job and it's within those 50 miles, but it'll be up to you if you decide, hey, I would prefer to relocate. What the relocation process looks like, especially for those that are affiliated with the military, is the typical PCS move. So if you're familiar with the PCS move, where you simply sit on a sofa, point to a fork, and the moving company comes in and packs up everything for you, they will put it in storage for up to 60 days. And then once you have found your home, they come, move it from storage into your home and unpack those boxes and take those unboxes away with them. So it is just as simple as that. We do follow the rules and regulations of the JTR, the Joint Travel Regulations, and that will give you more information on relocation, but it is pretty much the same as the military relocation process.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. We're here right now. We're at our question and answering period. If you all have any questions that may be specific to your situation or to your background, we're here to help. All of our team, we're here. All of us are talent acquisition specialists, and this is what we do every day. So if there's a specific question that you have, please feel free to drop it in the chat. We love to answer it for you. It's an opportunity for you to get your questions answered. Okay. Also, the place where you can find all our jobs, current jobs that we have available, it's right there in the chat for you at Navy Exchange Jobs. Okay, here's another question. Does NEXCOM offer flexible job opportunities? Absolutely. That's a great question. We do. We understand definitely, especially with military spouses, the need to have flexibility in your schedule sometimes because you're taking care of children and just kind of managing the house, to have that flexible schedule is important. So yes, we have professional roles, we have part-time roles, we have flexible roles. And the flexible roles is, for like someone that say, hey, I can't work a full-time schedule, but I would like to, work a certain amount of hours during a week. We have positions like that. And when you go to the site, it'll be listed as a flex so that you know specifically about that particular role. And then some are part-time, some are hourly, and then we of course have flexible roles. Does that answer the question, or was there something specific that a person was looking for there? Okay, awesome. Great.
One of the things that we like for everyone to know with flexible positions, especially when you're a military spouse and you're overseas, oftentimes you're on a waiting list for the CDC, the Child Development Center, and they want you to have a position before they move you up on the list to give you a definite start date for your child. And it's like a catch-22. You get the position, you go back over and they move you up and tell you, well, you can't have your child start until like 3 weeks from now. The Navy Exchange is flexible enough to work with you on a start date. We may want you to start right away, but we understand that you're at the mercy of the Child Care Development Center for a start date. So we'll work with you on your start date to get your child in so that you can start with us. And we know that sometimes that those slots at the CDC are not all day slots and require some flexibility. So we work with you on that flexibility too, to set a flexible schedule with you so that you're able to handle your childcare needs as well. Because those are one of the things that you will run into when you're stationed overseas and you're trying to get your childcare done. So we'll work with you. The other thing that you'll find that we're very flexible on is when the ships come in. When you're a military spouse and you know your spouse has been away for so long and you're waiting for them to come in and they finally come in after this 8-month deployment, we're often right there on the pier doing those service things that welcome the ships home. So if you need to take off to be there for that welcome, we're right there with you and we understand and we're flexible to give you that time off you need to welcome your spouse home. Tyrone, I see that we have another question about are there any remote jobs for those not near a military base?
So yeah, that's another great question. Absolutely, there are some remote jobs for those that are not near a Navy base, and those are on a case-by-case basis. Generally, our roles are near Navy base within a 50-mile radius, and I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought for a moment. But yes, there are some, and it's on a case-by-case basis. What I definitely recommend is that when you go to the site and you find a job that you're interested in, and you could apply and you can speak to the hiring manager with regards to if it's an opportunity for remote work, and if so, there you go. We'd love to have you.
And to just take that a little further, the reason why we ask that you be somewhat accessible to a naval base, because most likely you're going to be working via a laptop. And if laptops need to be updated, sometimes you're not always able to do them from home. And for some reason, you may need to come into one of our locations to drop and update your laptop. Or if you have any issues, we don't want you to have a loss in time to have to ship that laptop back and forth. There are times because your laptop is controlled by your access to different files and drives that you will be responsible for working in, and that's controlled by your CAT card. So it's very hard to do any updates or correct any problems that you may have if you're mailing it in, because we won't have the ability to insert your CAT card to do those updates. So that is why we ask that you be in some type of proximity to a naval base so that we can do that.
Awesome. Thank you so very much, Lycat. At this time, we're going to pause as our time. I know time sure flies when you're having fun, and we need to prepare. You're welcome, iPhone 3. We need to get ready for the next group. I definitely recommend that you guys visit some of the other sessions. There's some great information and some great agencies that are out there. Thank you so much for taking time to visit with NEXCOM, and we look forward to seeing you out there. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. We look forward to hiring you all.
I'll start the next one at 2:31, Tyrone.
Okay. The coffee is working on me. You're right, Val. We're gonna have it down packed by the last one, right?
Definitely, definitely.
We don't currently have anyone in the waiting room right now, just so you guys know.
Okay, great.
So could we pause? I'm gonna fly to the restroom. I'll be right back.
Yep, go ahead.
We now do have one, so I'll go ahead and admit her, and I'll just put a welcome message in.
Okay. And I can actually go ahead and start the introduction as well. Good afternoon. Thank you for participating in the Federal Interagency Military Spouses Career Expo featuring 15 federal agencies. This session, being hosted by the Navy Exchange Service Command, or NEXCOM, will start momentarily. For this afternoon's session, your microphone has been muted upon your entry into the meeting. The meeting host will prompt you to activate your microphone to speak during the Q&A session. Your video feed is fully active as your hosts are able to see you. Please use the chat area to direct questions, comments, remarks to the agency's representatives. All the afternoon sessions will be recorded. Recording links will be emailed to all attendees in the days following today's event. PDF files of today's presentations will also be emailed as the federal agencies provide them. As we near the end of this session, your hosts will encourage you to leave this meeting and join any of the other 15 meetings that will be about to start. At that time, exit this meeting and click on the Zoom link for the next federal agency you wish to visit. If you prefer to stay in this meeting, please feel free to do so. If you have any questions or need assistance, click on this morning's general session Zoom link you used to join us where help is standing by. Now, I would like to welcome Tyrone D. Mitchell, Sr., United States Marine Corps Master Sergeant retired, who is a talent acquisition specialist from the NEXCOM Human Resources Office, to provide you some opening remarks for this meeting session.
Thanks, Val. Thank you so very much, Val. Welcome, team. We're so thankful and grateful that you guys take time to stop by our session. As Val mentioned, my name is Tyrone Mitchell. I'm a talent acquisition specialist with NEXCOM, with the Navy Exchange Service Command. I'm a technical recruiter. I'm also a retired United States Marine. over 20 years that I've served. I love our mission here. Our mission is all about you. And so I want to jump right into our presentation that we have for you. I want to make sure we give time for your questions. So a few rules of engagement. Please go ahead and mute your microphone and turn off your camera after joining the meeting to reduce audio feedback and to preserve bandwidth. This event will be recorded. Please use the chat box to submit your questions for the presenters during the event. Include @Laquette or @Laura and @Tyrone before typing your question in the chat box. Ensure it's routed to the correct person. Keep in mind that we may not have enough time to ask presenters every question. Questions already addressed will be omitted for the interest of time. All questions and responses will remain in the chat for each group to see, as well as response will be emailed to all of you at the end of all the scheduled events. Just a brief agenda and who we are. Once again, I want to welcome you to the Federal Interagency Military Spouse Career Expo today, October 12th. In just a moment, we're going to have a video presentation from our Chief Executive Officer, R.J. Bianchi, Rear Admiral, United States Navy, retired. And then we'll have a NEXCOM enterprise overview that we'll share, and then the continuity of employment and military leave credit. We'll also talk about types of opportunities with NEXCOM and then the road to hire. And then we'll have a really awesome video about our mission, which is you. So now that you know who we are and while we're here, Val, can we go ahead and cue up the video by Rear Admiral Bianchi? Thank you. All right, it's there.
Wearing their own patches of service, military spouses stand at the ready, sustaining the home front so their uniformed spouse can protect our nation on the battlefront. As a retired Rear Admiral with 29 years of military service, my wife and daughters faced countless moves and constant change. And, as my wife kept our home afloat, the constant change in our address created career challenges for her. It wasn't easy, but she found her calling. And just this past year, she retired after serving 30 years as an educator, with her last 9 spent as an elementary school principal. As the CEO of the Navy Exchange Service Command, I remain committed to the continuous employment of those in our workforce who are military spouses, no matter the next duty station. And with our command's worldwide footprint among 7 unique mission areas, NEXCOM has so much to offer. We don't simply promote the hiring of military spouses by just offering jobs. We truly focus on career progression and professional development. So many of our nation's resilient military spouses are underemployed. So at NEXCOM, we try to change that by emphasizing the value of advancement and mobility among one's profession. That, along with our benefits program, makes us second to none. I encourage you to find out for yourself what a future for you looks like as part of the NEXCOM team. Hope to see you soon.
Thanks for that, Val. Next, I want to talk just a little bit about some of our NEXCOM history and kind of share with you how did we come about. NEXCOM has come a long way since the days when bumboats sold their wares to sailors abroad, naval vessels in the 19th century. Back then, sailors had to depend on these unreliable boats to get their personal items while aboard ship. The bumboats, small vessels pulled alongside U.S. Navy ships, exchanged merchandise for money by pails lowered over the side by the crew of the Navy ship. Goods sold by the bumboats were normally inferior and sold at high prices. By 1909, the Naval Appropriations Act established the first official resale activities, ship stores, and commissary stores. In 1944, the Secretary of the Navy permitted ship stores to be operated on all Navy bases. Then, in 1945, Captain Wheelock H. Bigham, United States Navy Reserve, recommended all resale activities operate like a large chain of retail stores and a central office be established to oversee the operation of the Navy resale system. The Secretary of the Navy approved the Bigham Plan, which stated in part that the ship service stores ashore be operated with non-appropriated funds. The new central office for the Navy Ship Store office was established in Brooklyn, New York on April 1st, 1946. This office was later renamed the Navy Exchange Service Command and is now headquartered in Virginia Beach, Virginia. NEXCOM Enterprise now encompasses 7 business lines, boasting a workforce of 16,000 located around the globe. Most of NEXCOM is a non-appropriated fund instrumentality of the DOT and the Department of the Navy. Therefore, most of NEXCOM's expenses are paid with its earnings and not tax dollars. For strategic alignment, NEXCOM falls under the Chief of Naval Operations, as well as Naval Supply Systems Command. And then here at NEXCOM, we have a dual mission. It's very simple and I love it: to provide quality goods and services at a savings and support Navy quality of life programs. As our CEO mentioned in the video, that NEXCOM Enterprise, we have 7 lines of business. The first is the Navy Exchange, which yields 2.4 billion annual sales. It has 91 complexes, 14 countries, and in 22 states. And look at this wonderful caveat here: 420 million savings to our customers, our Navy sailors. Then there's the Navy Gateway Inn and Suites, whose mission is official TDY travel. There's 402 buildings worldwide with 16,000 rooms. Then, of course, there's the Navy Lodge. Its mission is permanent change of station travel. There's 38 lodges worldwide with over 3,000 rooms. There's the Ship Store on each of our 133 naval ships, with an annual sales of 69 million. And look at this, 11 million of that 69 million goes to morale, welfare, and recreation for our sailors and Marines. Then there's the Uniform Program Management Office that has annual sales in uniforms of 123 million. It's open 24/7, the call center that is, and the web store, which means that they can go online at any time and order the various uniforms that they need to be able to do their jobs respectively. Then there's the Telecommunications Program Office. I know personally during the times when on the many deployments that I've done, being able to call home from ships was so valuable. You know, those times when our sailors and Marines, when they're lonely and they miss their loved ones, they're able to call and not just receive a letter, but hear their voice. That's part of NEXCOM's mission as well, with its wireless products and services. Then on all of our, at the Navy Lodge, if you go to the Navy Exchange and the Navy Gateway Inn and Suites, there's free Wi-Fi there. All of that is provided by NEXCOM, as well as in all of our base housing and our medical facilities. And then finally, there's the Navy Clothing and Textile Research Facility, where we do all of our uniform research and development, and then the testing and certification, which I love because it not only do we make and receive the material, but we test it and make sure that it's functional for our Navy, Marines, and sailors. Now that we've talked about the NEXCOM Enterprise, we're going to move right along to talk about the Continuity of Employment Program and our Military Leave Program. And Laquette Dickerson, she's one of our Executive Recruitment, Talent Acquisition, and Marketing Specialists. Laquette, please take it away.
Hi, thank you, Tyrone. I am Laquette Dickerson, as Tyrone mentioned. I am one of the Talent Acquisition and Marketing Specialists here at NEXCOM, and my chief responsibilities are executive recruitment and employment branding. I do full cycle recruiting and placement of highly qualified candidates into NEXCOM senior level management roles globally. And I do the management of creative solutions to support hiring initiatives by delivering recruitment and marketing campaigns across all media platforms. I began my career with NEXCOM back in 2010 as a Navy spouse in Yokosuka, Japan. I was hired as a human resource associate, and I have been actually a product of the continuity program, and it has served me quite well. The continuity program, which exactly is the continuity of employment program, or SET, if you would like initials, the shortcut way of doing things. We refer to that as SET. It is for both exempt and non-exempt transferring military spouses and their dependents who have received a copy of their permanent change of duty orders, and they are going to be relocating to a new area. So as long as you are hired by the Navy Exchange and you are in the process of transferring out and you've worked with us for 3 months or 90 days, once you get a copy of your PCS orders, you simply go into our human resource office, provide them with a copy of your orders. They will see what your new duty station is going to be. You will complete the paperwork and you will have the option of continuing to make direct contribution to your plan benefits with the exception of your 401k plan. So if you have signed up for things such as medical benefits, the pension plan, you'll be able to continue to make direct contributions to them until you reach your new duty station and go into the human resource office after you have set up your home, got your kids enrolled in school, and you've taken a deep breath again and drove around your new area and got more familiar with it. You have a year to walk into that new HR office and say, hey, I'm ready to work. And they will place you or help you get placed into a position that is equal to or similar to the position that you had at your last duty station. So the only eligibility that I've indicated is that you must be in a position for at least 3 months or 90 days and have a successful performance rating, fully successful or higher. They ask that you have 2. However, if you've only been working 90 days, you may not have a performance evaluation at all, but that's not a problem. And you're still eligible to participate in the continuity of employment program. What that looked like for me, I had been working with the Navy Exchange for 2 years. And when my husband got orders, I'd never lived in Virginia before, although I had family from the area. We got here because we're still here now. My husband has since then retired. After I got my household set up and I got situated and I was ready to work, 4 months after arriving, I walked into the HR office and I said, hey, I'm here ready to work. And they went to work finding me a position, and it's been good for me ever since. I've been promoted several times, including the current position that I'm in. So the continuity of employment has definitely benefited, as my husband, as I stated, has since then retired. I've been allowed to continue my career as one day too, where I look forward to retirement. And it's really good to know that I have at least 13 years towards that without having to worry about having to look for a job every time we've changed duty stations. So definitely as a military spouse, it is something that you want to definitely work for an employer that supports and understands your situation and have programs to do so, such as the continuity of employment program. So next, I will tell you about the military leave credit. The military leave credit is also a great program that the Navy Exchange Service Command offers. It is for transitioning military vets. They are eligible to receive leave credit for the entire time they have spent in the armed forces or for any non-wartime campaigns or expeditions as long as they were honorably discharged. All we ask is that by your first day of employment, make sure that you bring us your DD 214 or your FS 813. We send that off to Millington and get verification of your wartime campaign and expeditions or of your military service. And then once we get that back, we give you credit towards your leave. That is something that's invaluable. It is an additional way to say thank you for your service by giving you that additional leave time. It also provides you with an opportunity to take advantage of some of your military appointments that you have without having to worry about taking time off. It's something that you never want to pass up on. So those are the two programs that we have for not only military veterans, but also for their spouses and dependents. Tyrone?
Thanks, Saket. Great information. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about types of career opportunities that are available. In NEXCOM, as we boast 16,000 plus employees and associates around the planet, it gives us a lot of flexibility. And here on your screen, you can see that there's 3 specific areas where you may find your skill set located. So there's the field retail global positions, merchandising and marketing, store operations, loss prevention, corporate, uniform, program office, telecommunications, supply chain, architect and engineers. Then there's the hospitality, there's lodge and suites, managers, supervisors, front desk clerk, housekeeping. And then here at our headquarters in Tidewater, there's human resources, information technology, contracts, the Office of Internal Audit, Finance, Accounting, and EEO. Those are some of the positions that are available. Now, what I like to do real briefly, I want to shift gears to the road to hire, because that's the most important to you all, everyone that is on here, is how do I get access to these various opportunities that NEXCOM has available. I want to turn it back over to Laquette just for a moment for her to share with you from the process and how long, what does the process look like? Laquette, could you take that away and share with all of our wonderful listeners? Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Tyrone. So as Tyrone mentioned, we do have an array of positions that we post. We post new positions every Friday. So if you don't see a position that you think you're interested in this week, always check next week. The list of jobs that Tyrone shows you in areas of interest is a limited list. It is not by any means all the positions that we have. So if you don't see something today, definitely take a look at what we may have tomorrow. If you go to our website and you look at the Work For Us list, you can look at the various categories to which we generally hire positions in. Some positions may be essential to a particular location, or it could be positions that we have all across our enterprise. So definitely take a look. Now, looking at the process to hire, as I stated, we post positions every single Friday, and positions are posted generally from 1 to 2 weeks, depending on how urgent they are to fill. Each job posting will indicate a closing date, so you'll be able to distinguish which ones you need to have your application in and by the date that you need to have that in by. Candidates are reviewed by the hiring team or the talent acquisition team. They are reviewed and forwarded to the hiring manager for consideration. Only candidates who have met the minimum qualifications or MQRs are forwarded to the hiring managers for consideration. What does the minimum qualifications look like? Well, on each of our position descriptions, you'll see a full outline of what the expectation of performance for each job is. And at the end, it will say the minimum qualifications. Those are the minimum qualifications that the candidate must meet in order to be forwarded to the hiring official or hiring manager for consideration. Once that hiring manager receives that candidate's resume and application, they will have 1 week to schedule an interview and also make a selection. Once they make a selection, then there will be another week to which the background check is processed and then the offer is extended. All background checks are processed prior to any offers being extended because we are a government agency. The process from the job announcement to extending the offer may take up to 30 days or 1 month. We ask that you please be patient because, of course, as a government agency, the process takes a little longer. Once you attend orientation, you'll receive a CAD card And once you receive a CAT card, you're officially part of the family. We start our orientations every week or every other week, depending on the position and the location. So again, the process may take 1 month. Thank you, Tyrone.
Thanks, Laquette. Guys, we want to shift to show you just a brief video. It's called Mission U. Val, could you go ahead and cue this up? It's there, so whenever you're ready.
When our sailors are at sea, someone keeps them in touch. Even at the beginning of a journey, there's someone at their side. That's us, the men and women of NEXCOM. In far-off places, we're here to keep home close. From Bethesda to Bahrain, San Diego to Sigonella, Rota to Romania. We're here to take care of them and theirs. We're here to show our gratitude to those who paved the way. Out front and behind the scenes, we take care of the details so they can stand up for us. From that early first morning of boot camp to those easy mornings on leave, we're here wherever they are, and we'll be here to see them home. We know how to leverage what we have to rise to meet our shared mission. Our strength comes from coming together. We are NEXCOM, a proud part of the Navy family. We take care of our own, including you, because the mission is you.
And I love that video. I do. Listen, on behalf of our entire team, we want to thank all of you guys for listening to our brief overview.
Don't lose your when building an online store. Use Shopify's professional templates and drag and drop editor to create your...
All righty. I want to thank all of you for your time. We want to shift gears a little bit and open it up for questions. As you can see there on the screen, if you go to our site that's right there, mynavyexchange.com/NEX/work-for-us, you'll find all of our current job postings. You'll find great information about us, some frequently asked questions that are there. So now, the next time, rest of the time that we have together that we'll be spending, we want to open it up and answer any questions that you have specifically to your particular job journey. And our team is here ready to answer whatever questions you have available. So please drop them right there in the chat and we'll do our best to get them answered. I know earlier one of the questions that we received was with regards to was citizenship a requirement to work at NEXCOM? And the answer, very simple to that, is that some of our rules require citizenship depending upon the scope and the depth of the role. However, there's some that does not. And the best place to find those are there right there in the job description. It'll say right at the top whether US citizenship is required. So I definitely recommend that you guys take a visit to our job posting and see all of the great opportunities that are available. What questions do you have for us?
So Amber, I see, has a question. Do you have remote roles available?
Okay, so yes, our roles are, our remote roles are located, well, let me back up. So our roles are remote, local, and are hybrid, which means that you'll spend a certain amount of time in the office and certain days. So like 3 days in the office, 2 days where you'll actually telework. That's hybrid. Remote, generally our roles are local to a naval installation. generally under about 50 miles. However, there are some roles that are on a case-by-case basis. The best thing that I recommend is that you go, you find the role that you like, that fits and meets your skill set, and apply. And then when you have an opportunity to speak to the hiring manager, you can initiate that question then to them directly. Okay. I see another question by Amberly. How receptive are you towards career pivots? I'm a former teacher and will soon have a master's degree. I want to get into a project management role. I'm not sure where to focus my search. Wow, Amberly, good on you. Thank you for those years that you've spent teaching. Absolutely. Many of our associates have pivoted to other career progressions, because what we do is, from a holistic standpoint, we're going to look at your entire background. However, some roles require various certifications. And what I would recommend is that those positions that you're interested in, definitely take a look at what the job description says, as well as at the bottom, you'll see the job description at the top, but at the bottom, it'll have the minimum qualifications that are required. And that's any experience, be it volunteer and or paid, and tailor your resume to those specific positions. And that should get you in the ballpark that you're interested in.
And Amber, I will add to that and say that when you're looking at our positions, just keep in mind that they may not say project management per se. Some of our titles are not the same conventional roles or titles that you find externally. So you may have to click on a few that you think that you might be interested in, or that sounds interesting to you, and read through the position description so you'll get an idea of exactly what that position does, so that you can make your decision as to whether or not this falls within your line that you're looking for. We have a lot of positions that in some capacity you will be doing project management. It's just not in the title.
Got it. Great point, Laquette. Awesome. Did that answer your question, Amberly? Great. What other questions you guys have? We're here. This is what we do on a daily basis. All of us are talking to candidates. We're going through resumes. We're matching candidates. If you have any specific question, please fire those away. We're here for you.
And Amber, I'm just going to go a step further since we have a little time, just to let you know that as you prepare your resume and you read through that position description, as well as the minimum qualifications that I spoke about, just make sure that because you're pivoting your career in a different direction, that you be sure to make that connection. There are some things that you're going to find that you have done as a teacher that crosses over into that project management role, because of course, in that setting, you're definitely doing some sort of project management from one aspect to another. Is that you be sure that to word your resume so that you can speak to the job that you're trying to get. And that's going to be the most important thing. Use your current experience to speak to the position that you're trying to get.
Awesome. Laquette, also, one of the other questions that we had earlier was about gaps in career history due to relocation and various job opportunities. Could you speak to that, please, for those that may have been, PCSed from one duty station to a next with their loved one and had to, leave one job to go to another job?
Yes, so because we are a military friendly organization, we understand that there's going to be times when you and your spouse have to pick up and move because, of course, you're under orders by the military to move around, and you move around a lot depending on what his rate is. So if you have gaps in your resume, don't feel that it's a negative. Just indicate why you have those gaps and make sure that you just focus on your experience. We understand that you move, and it's not an issue for us. So
Thank you. Okay. All right. Elle, do you have any questions that we can answer for you?
Me?
Elle Simmons, Are there any questions that we can answer for you?
And Amber, as you move through, if you find that you have any additional questions and need us to either look things over for you or answer any questions, you can always reach out to any of us, after the seminar is over, and we'll be love to help you.
Good deal. Are there any other questions? Coming to a close of this session, and want to make sure that we don't leave any question that any of you may have out. And if there's something that you think of later, as Laquette just mentioned, please email us right at nexcom.jobs@nextweb.org. And we'll reach back out to you to get whatever question that you had taken care of. And so if there's no other questions, we're going to go ahead and close this session. As a reminder, our site is right there up on the screen. It's mynavyexchange.com/NEX/work-for-us. And we'd love to have you be a part of our NEXCOM family, and definitely recommend that you visit some of the other agencies that are out there. There's a lot of great information that's being shared, and we want to thank you all for visiting and stopping by our session. Have a great day, y'all.
Thank you for joining us.
All right, it's just us in here now.
Great
Okay.
job, everybody.
Awesome. I think you're on to something, Val. It does seem like it's getting smoother and smoother.
That's the way it always goes.
So here we go. Got a small break before the next bunch. And I think this is going to be the last one. This should be the last one, right?
Yes, it should be.
Okay.
So you guys have 8 minutes if you need to take a bio break. I'll be here, and I'll just tell them to hang on till you get back.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Val.
You're very welcome.
We don't currently have anyone in the waiting room, so I'll wait a few minutes and I'll send anyone that's there a message, and then I'll admit them a few minutes before 3:15.
Sure.
All right, we've got one in the waiting room, so I'll go ahead and admit her.
Perfect. And I'll wait till right at 3:15 to get started, maybe 3:16.
Yep, that sounds good.
Good afternoon. Thank you for participating in the Federal Interagency Military Spouses Career Expo featuring 15 federal agencies. This session, being hosted by the Navy Exchange Service Command, or NEXCOM, will start momentarily. For this afternoon's session, your microphone has been muted upon entry to the meeting. The meeting host will prompt you to activate your microphone to speak during the Q&A session. Your video feed is fully active, and as your hosts are able to see you. Please use the chat area to direct questions, comments, or remarks to the agency's representatives. All the afternoon sessions will be recorded. Recording links will be emailed to all attendees in the days following today's event. PDF files of today's presentations will also be emailed as the federal agencies provide them. As we near the end of this session, your host will encourage you to leave this meeting and join any one of the other 15 meetings that will be about to start. At that time, exit this meeting and click on the Zoom link for the next federal agency you wish to visit. If you prefer to stay in this meeting, please feel free to do so. This is the last one for the day. We'll cut you off at 4. If you have any questions or need assistance, click on this morning's general session Zoom link used to join where help is standing by. Now, I would like to welcome Tyrone D. Mitchell, Sr., United States Marine Corps Master Sergeant, retired, who is a talent acquisition specialist from the NEXCOM Human Resources Office, to provide you some opening remarks for this meeting session. Tyrone, the floor is yours.
Hey, Val, thank you very much. Hello, folks. I want to welcome you all to the Navy Exchange Service Command's Federal Interagency Military Spouse Career Expo. As Val mentioned, my name is Tyrone Mitchell. I'm a native of New Orleans, Louisiana. I've served a little over 20 years in the United States Marine Corps, and currently I'm a talent acquisition specialist, technical recruiter here at Navy Exchange Service Command. I want to jump right in briefly into some rules of engagement for our time that we're going to spend together today. First, I want to ask for all of you to go ahead and mute the microphone and turn off your camera after joining the meeting. This is going to reduce feedback and to preserve bandwidth. This event will be recorded. Please use the chat box to submit your questions for the presenters during the event. And I'd ask that you include @Laquette or @Laura and @Tyrone before typing your question in the chat box to ensure it's routed to the correct person. Keep in mind that we may not have enough time to ask presenters every question. Questions already addressed will be omitted for the interest of time. All questions and responses will remain in the chat for each group to see as well. As a response, will be emailed to all of you at the end of all the scheduled events. Now that you know who we are and why we're here, let's go ahead and jump right into our agenda for today. I have just welcomed you all in. Next, we're going to have a video by RJ Bianchi, Rear Admiral, United States Navy retired, our Chief Executive Officer. Then I'll share with you a little bit about our NEXCOM enterprise overview. We'll talk about continuity of employment and military leave credit. We'll also share types of opportunities with NEXCOM and the road to hire. And then we'll close with a mission with our video. It's called Mission U, and we'll open it up for some questions and answers. So let's go ahead and move right into that video from our CEO, Rear Admiral Bianchi. Val, if you want to get it queued up for us. And it's there.
Wearing their own patches of service, military spouses stand at the ready, sustaining the home front so their uniformed spouse can protect our nation on the battlefront. As a retired Rear Admiral with 29 years of military service, my wife and daughters faced countless moves and constant change. And, as my wife kept our home afloat, the constant change in our address created career challenges for her. It wasn't easy, but she found her calling, and just this past year, she retired after serving 30 years as an educator, with her last 9 spent as an elementary school principal. As the CEO of the Navy Exchange Service Command, I remain committed to the continuous employment of those in our workforce who are military spouses, no matter the next duty station. And with our command's worldwide footprint among 7 unique mission areas, NEXCOM has so much to offer. We don't simply promote the hiring of military spouses by just offering jobs. We truly focus on career progression and professional development. So many of our nation's resilient military spouses are underemployed. So at NEXCOM, we try to change that by emphasizing the value of advancement and mobility among one's profession. That, along with our benefits program, makes us second to none. I encourage you to find out for yourself what a future for you looks like as part of the NEXCOM team. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you for queuing that up, Val. Next, we'll jump right into some NEXCOM history. I want to share with you a little bit about who we are and how we got here. NEXCOM has come a long way since the days when bumboats sold their wares to sailors abroad, naval vessels in the 19th century. Back then, sailors had to depend on these unreliable boats to get their personal items while aboard ship. The bumboats, small vessels that pulled alongside U.S. Navy ships, exchanged merchandise for money by pails lowered over the side by the crew of the Navy ship. Goods sold by the bumboats were normally inferior and sold at high prices. By 1909, the Naval Appropriations Act established the first official resale activities, ship stores, and commissary stores. In 1944, the Secretary of the Navy permitted ship stores to be operated on all Navy bases. Then, in 1945, Captain Wheelock H. Bigham, United States Naval Reserve, recommended all resale activities operate like a large chain of retail stores and a central office be established to oversee the operation of the Navy resale system. The Secretary of the Navy approved the Bigham Plan, which stated in part that the ship service stores should be operated with non-appropriated funds. The new central office for the Navy Ship Store office was established in Brooklyn, New York on April 1st, 1946. This office was later renamed the Navy Exchange Service Command and is now headquartered in Virginia Beach, Virginia. NEXCOM Enterprise now encompasses 7 business lines, boasting a workforce of 16,000 located around the globe. Most of NEXCOM is a non-appropriated fund instrumentality of the DoD and the Department of the Navy. Therefore, most of NEXCOM's expenses are paid with its earnings and not tax dollars. As a point of strategic alignment, NEXCOM falls under the Chief of Naval Operations, as well as Navy Naval Supply Systems Command. And then here at NEXCOM, we have a dual mission, and that is to provide quality goods and services at a savings and support Navy quality of life programs. You heard Admiral Bianchi, our CEO, mention about our 7 lines of business, and I want to kind of delineate them here. They're here on the screen for you. First, there's the Navy Exchange, which has 91 complexes in 14 countries and in 22 states. And a caveat to the 2.4 billion annual sales is there's 420 million savings that go right to our customers. And at NEXCOM here, we get a chance to serve the best customers, which are our Navy and Marine, our sailors and our Marines. Next, there's the Navy Gateway Inn and Suites, which boasts 90 million in annual revenue with 402 buildings worldwide with 16,000 rooms. And its mission is for official temporary duty travel. And then there's the Navy Lodge, 76 million annual revenue, 38 lodges worldwide with 3,000 rooms, and its mission is permanent change of station travel. So the difference between the two, TDY, permanent change of station, as many of you know, TDY is temporary. It's like when our folks go off to temporary duty stations for like training or some kind of schooling that's on a temporary basis. And then of course, permanent change of station is going to a totally different duty station. Then there's the ship store. The ship stores are upon all of our 133 Navy ships, which boast 69 million in annual sales, with 11 million of that 69 million going to our morale, welfare, recreation for our sailors and Marines. Then there's the Uniform Program Management Office, which has 123 million annual uniform sales, and it's open 24/7, the call center that is, as well as the web store, which means that our sailors and Marines, they can get their uniforms ordered 24/7, regardless of where they are, regardless of what time it is. And then there's the Telecommunications Program Office, which has phone calling on ships, which is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful asset to our sailors and Marines while they're forward deployed. And then the wireless products and services. There's the Wi-Fi that's available at the lodging at the Navy Lodge, as well as the Navy Gateway Inn and Suites. There's the free Wi-Fi there in the housing areas, as well as the morale, welfare and recreation, and the medical facilities, all that provided by our Telecommunications Program Office. And then there's the Navy Clothing and Textile Research Facility, where our uniform and research development facility has the testing and certifications. Not only do we make the uniforms, but we make the material as well, and we test it to make sure that it's functional for both our sailors and our Marines. Now that we've talked about our NEXCOM enterprise, I want to shift gears and go right into our continuity of employment program and our military leave program. program. And I want to turn it over to Lykette Dickerson. She's our executive recruitment and talent acquisition and marketing specialist. Lykette, could you take it away?
Sure. Thank you, Tyrell. As Tyrell mentioned, my name is Lykette Dickerson. I am the talent acquisition specialist here. I am responsible for executive recruitment and employment branding. What that means is that my responsibilities include full life cycle recruiting and placement of highly qualified candidates into NEXCOM senior level management roles globally, and the management of creative solutions to support hiring initiatives by delivering recruitment marketing campaign across all media platforms. So I began my career at the Navy Exchange Service Command back in May of 2010 when my husband was stationed in Yokosuka, Japan. And I started as a human resource associate. And since that time, I have fully taken advantage of the continuity employment program because once my husband received orders from Japan to Virginia, which I had never lived, I was definitely going to be in need of a job, and I didn't want to have that to think about, while I also had to think about getting myself acclimated to a new area and trying to get my household goods set up and finding a place to live and all that good stuff. So what that meant to me was that the continuity program was good for me, and it's also good for anyone that's in an exempt or non-exempt position transferring from a permanent change of duty station going to the new geographical area. All you have to do is once you get your orders, you take those PCS orders into a human resource office and you present your orders. You take those orders and you fill out your paperwork indicating where you're going to go with a copy of your resume. It is a very simple process. Once you do that and you get to your new location and you're able to unpack your goods, get your kids enrolled in school and get things set up in your household, you have a year to go in to that new HR office, present your continuity paperwork, and they will start working with you to find you in a position that is equal to, if not the same, position that you left at your previous duty station. For me, that has meant everything because that it has allowed me to be promoted several times in my career since being here at this new duty station, which is now Virginia Beach for us. And we've been here for 7 or 8 years since my husband has retired. What that has also allowed me and others in the program to do is to continue to make direct contribution to the benefit plan with the exception of the 401k. So all the time, I was not losing any of the benefits or my time in service that I had done already at my previous location with the Navy Exchange. It allowed me to continue all those things once I got to the new duty station and got put into my new position. This, again, is eligible for anybody in a full or part-time or flexible position. The only requirement really is that you be with the Navy Exchange for 3 months or 90 days. They ask that you, or we ask that you have fully completed at least 2 annual performance reviews at a rate of fully successful hire, but knowing that sometimes you get in positions and you may not have had a chance to have a performance evaluation, that does not preclude you from being a part of the program. We understand that. So really the only requirement is that you're within the program within 3 months or 90 days. What's great about it is that you have people that are already looking for a position for you before you even arrive. A list comes out every month that shows those people that are transferring from one duty station to another that works with us, the type of positions that they're interested in. And when people like us, the talent acquisition team, receive that list, we will already start looking for positions for you that we may have available. And we might even reach out to you and say, hey, I know you said you weren't ready to work until May, but we have something for you. Just want to know if you're interested, and we'll start working with you so that when May rolls around, you're ready to get into that position. So the continuity of program is definitely something for military spouses and their dependents. that is a wonderful program, and you'll find a lot of associates here at NEXCOM has fully taken advantage of that, and it's made us even more committed to NEXCOM as a whole, as they've been committed to our future careers. The next opportunity that we have is for vets, and it's the military leave credit. It's for any transition military vets. They are eligible to receive military leave credit for the entire time spent in the armed forces, although not for retirees, or for any wartime campaigns and expeditions, as long as they are honorably discharged. So once you come to work for us, if you meet those categories, we ask you for your DD 214 and your FS 813. Once we receive those, we send those off to Millington to verify your wartime campaigns and expeditions, as well as your time spent in the military, so that you can receive that extra leave credit. The extra leave credit for veterans is so important because it allows them the additional time to go to any medical appointments that they have, or to do some mental health things that they may want to check up on, and just get a relief and have that break. So nobody ever has turned down additional leave time, and we definitely have this to say thank you for the time that you've spent in the military, and to give them that additional time off. So those are just two of the perks that we have for military dependents and their spouses, as well as for those veterans that are retiring that decide to come to work for us. So Tyrone, I'll turn that back over to you.
Laquette, thank you for that great information about the continuity of employment and our military leave credit programs. Next, I want to talk about types of career opportunities that are available. As you all heard our CEO mention and boast about the 16,000 associates that we have across the globe. NEXCOM is a very unique company in that we have tons of different industries that are merged together. And you see a few of them right here: the Field Retail Global, the hospitality, and the Tidewater headquarters. I wanted to just capture just a few of those, as there's so much more than what's here, but just to kind of give you a 40,000 foot view of NEXCOM career opportunities. So you see in Field Retail Global, there's merchandising and marketing. You see store operations, loss prevention, corporate, a uniform program office, telecommunications, supply chain, architect and engineer. In the hospitality, you see lodge and suites, managers, supervisors, front desk, clerks, housekeeping, as well as Tidewater. And at our headquarters in Virginia Beach, there's human resources, information technology, contracts, the office of internal audit, finance, accounting, and EEO, just to name a few. And what I want to do, I want to punt it back over to Laquette to share with us the road to hiring. What all of that mean? How do I apply? Laquette, could you share with all of our listeners how they can actually apply and what the process looks like from the time that they actually apply to a requisition to hire? Could you do that for us?
Sure. Thank you, Tyrone. So the road to hire, we're always excited to have new applicants, especially those that are affiliated with the military and our base in some kind of way, because you guys are always our priority, as this is the true essence of Mission U. So every Friday, we post new jobs, and our jobs are posted for 1 or 2 weeks, depending on the urgency to fill. Tyrone went through a whole list of positions that we typically post, but please understand that that is in no way the full list in its entirety. If you would like to see that list, and you visit our website that Laura has posted in our chat, www.navyexchange.jobs, you'll be able to source through that list by different categories, by different locations, and you will definitely see the list in its entirety. And just keep in mind that we do post new positions every single week. So we do encourage you to look at that list several times, as if you don't see it this week, you may see it next week. So once that position is posted, you'll see the closing date. And as I mentioned, it may be a week or it could be 2 weeks. Candidates can apply and then they are reviewed by the talent acquisition team and are forwarded to the hiring management officials for review after 1 week. Which candidates get reviewed, which candidates get forwarded to the hiring management official will be those candidates who meet the minimum qualifications required. Those are called MQRs. Those minimum qualifications required, or MQRs, can be found on the position description. So as you go to our website, you'll see a position, and you'll also see the position description in its entirety, immediately followed by the minimum qualifications. Those candidates that have met those minimum qualifications are scheduled for interviews. Once the interviews are completed after 1 week, and the hiring official has made a selection, the background check is processed, and an offer is extended. This whole process may take up to 1 month or 30 days. Once this is done, you'll be scheduled for orientation. The orientation could be weekly, or it could be every other week, depending on the location. Once you receive your CAT card, you're officially part of the family, which we are always looking to expand our family. We ask that you keep in mind that the hiring process, again, because we are a government agency, can take up to 30 days from the time of application. Tyrone?
You can run it when you're ready. Thank you.
When our sailors are at sea, someone keeps them in touch. Even at the beginning of a journey, there's someone at their side. That's us, the men and women of NEXCOM. In far-off places, we're here to keep home close. From Bethesda to Bahrain, San Diego to Sigonella, Rota to Romania. We're here to take care of them and theirs. We're here to show our gratitude to those who paved the way. Out front and behind the scenes, we take care of the details so they can stand up for us. From that early first morning of boot camp to those easy mornings on leave, we're here wherever they are, and we'll be here to see them home. We know how to leverage what we have to rise to meet our shared mission. Our strength comes from coming together. We are NEXCOM, a proud part of the Navy family. We take care of our own, including you, because the mission is you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Val. Well, folks, this brings our session to a close. Right now, what we'd like to do is we'd like to pivot to answer any questions that you have more specifically about NEXCOM. As you can see right there on the screen, if you go to mynavyexchange.com/NEX/work-for-us, you'll find all of our current job postings. You'll find more information about us, as well as some frequently asked questions that can be found there. So right now, what specific questions do you have? Our team is here. We're ready to answer any questions that you have about the hiring process, about resumes, about culture, about remote work. Feel free to jump right in and fire them there. You can put them in the chat, and or you can come off mute and you can ask them directly. Okay. Thank you, Virginia. I'm sorry. Thank you, Val, for dropping that link there in the chat for us.
You're welcome, no problem.
All right. Any questions? Anyone that's out there? Continuity program. I know we covered a lot of information. Any questions at all? This is what this time is slated for you, and we want to make sure that it's beneficial to you. What questions do you have that we can answer for you at this time? I know that you guys have been through a lot of presentations. You've had a chance to sample many of the agencies, and now that you're here, what specific questions can we answer for you about anything?
So those that may be wondering whether or not NEXCOM offers relocation, NEXCOM does offer paid relocation. Paid relocation cannot be used in conjunction with continuity. If you are on military orders and you're relocating, then your orders will come first and you will relocate under the military's order. The relocation that we offer is the same as the military's. So that is considered double dipping. So it's obvious that you're moving with your spouse. So that way, that is why you would have to take advantage of your military spousal PCS move before you could do a relocation with us. So just wanted to provide that point of clarification.
Awesome. Thank you, Laquette. And also, I know some of the questions that we've had earlier were about types of resume. What resume is there a preference that NEXCOM prefers? And there isn't. You, as the job seeker, you want to utilize whichever resume, of course, the functional chronological combination or the targeted resume, the one that's going to show you in the best light. Sometimes as a military spouse, I understand that because my wife and I, we were together and we traveled and had to relocate. There are gaps that may be there. And so you just need to speak to it. You don't want anyone assuming. If you just put a blurb in there in your resume as to why you transitioned from one place to another, or if there was a gap there. It's understandable, and here at NEXCOM, we definitely understand that because you are who we serve. We serve our sailors and Marines, and everyone else, but those that are applying, we definitely understand that there may be gaps, and it's fine. Just speak to it in your resume. The other thing is that whatever position that you're going to apply to, go to the job description and make sure you're tailoring your resume to that position. Don't just scattergun it, but look at exactly what the description is and what the minimum qualifications required are. And if you meet those, make sure that you outline them there so that the hiring managers and those like us that will be reviewing them, we can see it and it's clear there. Okay. Any other questions? Other questions? No, Laquette, when you were over in Yokosuka, were there any questions that you wish you knew when you were applying that you can think of? That you
I'm
later
sorry,
discovered?
I couldn't quite hear you.
No, you're fine. I said when you were in Yokosuka, Japan, prior to you coming on board working with NEXCOM, was there anything that you wish you had known prior to?
Yes. So one of the things that we were not aware of when I came aboard is all the great benefits that NEXCOM has in its totality. So for me, the reason why I chose NEXCOM is because I wanted to get back to my career in human resources after taking some time off. So, but what I was not aware of is all the benefits that they have. As a military spouse, often you don't take advantage of the military's, of NEXCOM's medical benefits. And what that leaves out there is all the money that you leave on the floor because you're not taking advantage of that. But also, I didn't enroll in some of the other benefits that NEXCOM now offers upfront. And those are some things such as the pension, the 401k plan. As soon as you get employment with NEXCOM, I encourage everyone to enroll in that right away. It took me a couple months before I started reading through stuff and was like, hey, wait a minute, I'm missing out on some things. So you have your 401k, you have your pension. I did standalone dental, because if you ever had the military do your dental work, you definitely know you want to go somewhere outside the base to get that done. But also other things that our Magellan Services offers, like will writing. They do assistance when you're buying a vehicle. They help you with the negotiation process, which, you know, is always daunting because nobody likes to negotiate. You always feel as though when you're buying a car that you're getting the worst price ever because it seems like it's a whole thing that you don't know about. So they don't offer those kind of assistance, will preparation, like I already mentioned. And there's a whole host of mental health services that teach you how to relax or teach you how to be connected with someone that can help you get your family situated with various issues that you have. They have savings programs that help you. There's transportation programs that will help you get to and from work, depending on where your position is located. So there are a number of things that NEXCOM does offer that will help you be more successful in your position.
Awesome. That's a great point. Thank you for sharing that. You know, as you was talking, I also, I was thinking about there's also paid parental leave. That's another service that is available here. I know many employees do that. There's also the Family Friendly Leave Act.
Mhm.
There's the comprehensive, as you mentioned, medical plans. There's also disability insurance for short-term, long-term disability,
There's tuition reimbursement.
tuition reimbursement.
There are a
Yes,
host of training classes that we offer on our Learn platform.
yes,
And they don't have to be classes that you take that are necessary related to the position that you do. It could be there could be classes that you take that just help you grow fundamentally and to help
yes,
you do a better job. One of the things that NEXCOM realized is that a happy employee is a long-lasting employee. So you may be in an accounting position and maybe you want to learn more about project management, and those are the classes that you want to take. So there is some tuition reimbursement for that, as well as other programs that we have online already free and available to you that you can also take. There's also a number of memberships that you can join that NEXCOM will pay for to help you along your career journey. The philosophy here is that the more you grow, the better you are. So if it means that you're growing in a different direction in terms of a position outside your current department that you're looking at, NEXCOM does a lot of promotions within. One of the things that we are very strong at doing is making sure that when we do have open positions, that we look at our internal associates first and give them an opportunity to grow and advance in their careers.
yes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You know, it's funny because I was, as you was talking, I was just on Learn a couple of days ago because I was looking at some of you mentioned about the process improvement. I was looking at the Lean Six Sigma, and some of those classes and courses were free. I was really surprised to see that the yellow belt, the black belt, they were offered right on Learn, which was
Yes.
amazing. Yeah, I didn't know that. So to your point, I thought that was really neat that you can go right on Learn and get some of those courses at no cost to the associate. So
And Tyrone, that is a perfect example. NEXCOM does offer programs like the yellow, yellow or black belt and the whole series of belts here. And they offer you an opportunity to expand on what you've learned by putting it to use. So they will support you in that. I myself are currently in an executive skills development program, and it allows me to write a proposal for the organization to expand and grow. It's not, and it does not have to be a suggestion or something that you currently work within your department. It can be any business operation improvement program that you think the organization should improve upon. So there's different things that we do offer to help you with your career, and definitely to help you find your passion.
Yes, definitely. I love what Virginia, she had to run, but she left a wonderful comment there. She says, I joined the meeting a few minutes ago. I have no questions, but want to thank you for all of the valuable information you are giving us. Really professional team. Unfortunately, I have to leave meeting now. Thanks again. Wow. That was so
That was
encouraging.
great. Thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah, that was really great.
that was so encouraging. And so what we'll do, if there's no other questions, I think we can go ahead and conclude the session. Of course, we have the job posting right there, myNavyExchange.com/NEX/work-forward-us. If there's any other questions that anyone has or want to check out the jobs, please go and visit. Thank you all so much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you at your next career opportunity. Thanks,
Yes,
everyone.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let me stop the recording.